What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Gore here, and we are live. Yep, we got another KastKing live show popping off via YouTube and Facebook. So this is going to be a fun show. We got plenty of special guests to be popping in tonight, and we got some cool things to talk about and look forward to. So we're going to get things going here pretty quick and start adding some of our special guests. How many of you guys were watching the MLF this week? Man, craziness. We got some people jumping in the chat from YouTube. We got people jumping in from Facebook. But you know what? Let's get some other people jumping in, starting with this young lady right here, Tiffany Leal. Boom. What's going on, Tiffany? How's it going?
Hey, AJ. I'm doing great.
Awesome. We're going to bring somebody else in here. We're going to bring in Mr. Captain Brian Box. Here he comes. Ooh, it's going to have a party now. What's going on, Brian? How you doing?
Doing good. You?
Doing all right. Now, it wouldn't be a party unless we had one more because three's company, but let's get it going. Ooh, there we go. We got Tim. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, AJ. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. We got a whole bunch, of course. We got Milton Thompson in the house, Scott Hooden. We got Rom, Joshua Cruz. Man, I could go on. We got a lot of people. Matthew Adamson is in the chat. He's actually one of our pro anglers. He's fishing the Havasu Open. I think it starts either tomorrow or Thursday, and I know it's tough fishing here in Arizona. Like every lake in Arizona has been fishing tough. Lake Havasu is one of our better lakes. Awesome lake to fish, but I think it's being stingy too. But man, speaking of stingy, what about MLF? Has that not been some stingy fishing? Unless your name is Jared Lettner, like it's been horrible. What do you guys think?
I'll tell you, it's been tough, man. With the cold weather they've endured, it's been it's kind of a challenge everywhere. But I feel for those guys. You go 8 hours and get one bite all day, man. That's an Ironman tournament right there. That's tough. That's tough.
Quite a few guys didn't even catch any.
Right.
Yep.
Wait all day for that water to warm up, and it's just go time that final hour. That's tough. That's tough conditions all around.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I mean, I thought Brent was going to be able to squeak it out in Group B. But, man, it was just everybody struggled. A lot of guys caught nothing today. A lot of them.
Yeah, having been in Louisiana last week, I mean, that cold front, it really did a number on the lake.
So you were in Louisiana last week?
I was at Toledo Bend last weekend, yeah.
How'd that play out for you? Uh-oh, we had a laugh. Uh-oh, what happened? All right, set the table for us. Now you're fishing, aren't you fishing Bass Nations now, or what are you doing?
I fish the Bass Opens. I'm going to do the Central Division this year, but then I also fish the Phoenix BFL in the Cowboy Division, which is basically East Texas and Toledo Bend on the Louisiana side.
Nice.
So yeah, this weekend I was actually really excited to fish Toledo Bend. It was going to be my first time fishing there. And so I actually drove up early. I went out there on Wednesday because I knew the weather was going to get bad on Thursday. And so I was out there for a few days and didn't get to pre-fish because the ice storm hit. And so the boater I was going to go out with, she decided not to pre-fish. So I didn't get to pre-fish, but then I was excited for Saturday. We went out and hit our first spot, and within about 30 minutes, his trolling motor broke. And so he let me fish for about an hour more. He kind of let me fish out of the cove that we were in, and then he decided that he was done for the day and packed it up, and my day was done too because I had no boater. Right. So that was an interesting experience. I'm a very competitive person, so that was a really hard pill to swallow to leave the water at 9 a.m. And we had a 4:30 weigh-in. So I was actually excited about that because, I figured the bite would get better as it got hotter in the day because it was so cold. I mean, that morning when we went out, it was like 25 on the water.
Now, is there something like, I don't know, I may be crazy for this because I've never fished in circuits to that level. I know in a lot of other tournaments you can't get off your boat, but say in those circumstances, will they let you fish from the bank to try to compete, or is that like a
no? I contacted the tournament director, just asking him, as a co-angler, if I get in this circumstance in the future, what can I do? And he basically said I can just try to lobby my boater to let me keep fishing. But that if the boater decides to call it a day, there's
That's
nothing
it,
they can
you're
do
done.
to keep them on the water.
Tough luck.
Yeah, it was. So I fished all of Toledo Bend for an hour and a half. But yeah, it was a tough bite all the way around. When I went back and looked at the results, more than half the field of co-anglers skunked that day. They all blanked. So that tells you how tough the bite was on a good lake like Toledo.
Okay. Now, I'm going to open it up real quick. We're going to, Tim, Brian, and Tiffany, kind of let you guys tell everybody who they are. And then for the viewers watching, if you guys have questions. Now, the cool thing is I know that we've got pretty much a bass panel going on, but Brian is actually on the saltwater side. So if you have any questions when it comes to like bass fishing, heck, even catfishing, maybe we can answer some questions for you or some other species, or you want to talk about some different salt stuff. Viewers, please throw some. I'm going to be watching the comment section if we got some cool questions that we could all answer, one person in particular, or you just have a comment for that individual that's appropriate, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all behave. You will put it up in the chat. So we'll start. Tim, tell us who you are, what you got going on, what you do. I'll tell you one thing that is for sure. It looks like you're at a bait and tackle store back there. What do you got going on in that?
Well, anyways, we'll start. Tim Kovaleski, or better known as Tim K, because nobody can ever pronounce my last name. So I just go with Tim K. I fish Toyota Series Northeast Division. So I'll fish from Lake Champlain, St. Lawrence River, Potomac River, all the way down to North Carolina. I also fish the BFL Shenandoah Division.
Okay.
That kind of takes me through Virginia and North Carolina. So pretty much anything from North Carolina up to Canada, basically. Yeah, this is my shop, as I call it, my garage. So that's
not a
only
garage, that's a tackle store.
yeah, that's only one side. You got the other side over here.
Look at this guy.
I wrapped it around. And there's my boat. You guys seen my boat? I just got the boat back from the wrap dude, so he did a great job.
Yeah.
But mainly, this year's going to be cool. What's that?
I said I'm jealous of that setup. That is beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of years of a lot of collecting of a lot of stuff. Believe me, I got more than I need. But hey, you never know when you need something special. I was just talking to a guy, as a matter of fact, on Instagram about some lures from like 1986 that he had. And I just dug out that I'm like, dude, I'm putting these back on my boat. I got to throw them this year. Because I got two spots I'm going to go in for smallmouth this year up on the St. Lawrence, Lake Ontario, and Champlain. And I was originally born and raised up in Syracuse, so smallmouth is kind of my gig. I haven't done it in a while, but smallmouth is kind of my secret little passion, actually. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting back to that this year.
Brian, what do you got going on, bro? Let people know who you are.
My name's Captain Brian Box. I'm the owner of Real Salty Endeavors. I'm out of Southwest Florida, Naples to be exact. I'm an inshore guide, and I'm a pro guide for Team KastKing. I take people out on the water and try to give them the best day of their life.
You know, I worked a couple shows with you, and I got to say they felt like the best days of my life.
That's only because you were there, man.
And then Tiffany. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead.
You got any more to add there? I didn't mean to cut you off. So
no, that's it.
So Tiffany, you've got you're starting to fish at a higher level, or have you been fishing at a high level this whole time?
Last year I fished the BFL. Last year was my first year ever tournament fishing at all. Like I've never fished a local tournament or anything like that. I kind of just dove right into the BFL.
No kidding, yeah.
But
It's the way to do it. It's the way to do it.
And I just noticed that you hit 10,000 followers recently on your Instagram on the Texas Bass Babe. So congratulations on that one.
I did. That was a pretty great achievement. It was a good milestone to hit. So I was excited.
Perfect. All right. So
hey,
real
AJ, real quick. One thing. I just want to say this publicly, and I want to thank Miss Tiffany. She's the one that actually turned me on to KastKing. So I want to publicly thank her and be sure that people from KastKing are aware that she's the one that caused all this stuff you see right here.
Nice.
So I want to thank her publicly, and thank you for introducing me to KastKing and getting me on board. And thank you very much.
You know, and that's such a cool thing because like we're an e-commerce driven company. We're recently gotten into like Tackle Warehouse, Academy, things like that. You know, we've been on Amazon for a long time, you know, Walmart.com, but really word of mouth carries a lot of gravity. It really does. And
That's really what it was. I was in the market looking for a new fishing reel. And she made a post. This is like last year. So then I started looking in the KastKing, and I ordered one reel and ended up ordering like 9 more. And it was downhill from there. Then I talked to Al.
That's how it started. I mean, Cliff Crochet. Were you there, Brian, when Cliff came over? You weren't at the Classic that one year. I don't think you were there. I don't believe.
I was there in 2020.
Was that? I think that might have. When was it?
No, I don't think Cliff was at the Classic I was at.
So he came over, and he was a consumer. He was with another rod and reel company, the whole 9 yards.
So was that.
He came over and he bought a reel, and we were like, well, you know, and of course he's big name. We're like, no, here, let me give it to you. And he's like, nope, I want to buy it. I want to pay for it. That way, if I think this thing is fool's gold, it's over the shoulder with no qualms and no anything to feel bad about it. And then he took it with him, walked all around the show at the Classic and everything, and went back to his hotel room, played with it, dissected it, came back and bought a couple more. Wow. And that started the wheels turning, and he actually was using them the whole time between then. And then once his, you know, just playing with them, checking them out. And then when his contracts ended with some of the other companies, he goes, you know what? I think I'm going to go talk to these guys, and the rest is history, you know. So it's kind of neat, you know, when you got somebody of that level to come in and actually pick up the Bassinator and was like, let's see what it is. And
same deal, man. I was like, I was with another rod company, and they didn't renew me for this year for various financial reasons. And I sent my information over to Al, and he called me, and he and I talked for like 2 hours, and word of mouth, here we are. So thank you again, Miss Tiffany, by the way.
So now I'm going to be popping up some questions throughout this. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are watching in the comment section, please, if you have any questions for anybody in particular or in general, let us know. But I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. I will probably butcher it. But he asks, or she, I'm not sure, I presume. But anyways, is there an upcoming production of a reel for deep sea fishing? Now, Brian, don't show it. But I believe you would be the one to answer this, and you have something that you've been working with KastKing on. Now, Brian's been working with us for years, and you've had the Sharky 3 that you've taken out time and time again, and it has outlasted some of your other manufacturers' reels that you've worked with in the past. And it is, I mean, there's a reason why we call it the People's Champ. But with the years that you've been taking people out using our products, and now you're actually testing some of them in your harsh saltwater conditions, would you say the reel in question, and you and I know exactly which one it is, will that one categorize in this area? Would you call it a production reel for deep sea fishing?
Yeah, I would call it a production reel for deep sea fishing, definitely, especially the larger size. They're really built. It really depends, I guess, what kind of deep sea fishing you're talking about. Trolling, probably not so much, but bottom fishing, grouper, snapper, definitely a reel of choice for me for that aspect.
Now, I can promise you there's quite a few guys in our comment section that know, you know what? Give us a glimpse. Give us a flash. I'll take everybody knows it's coming. Everybody knows it's coming. But this is, now granted, it's coming soon, guys. And Brian's been working as a prototype and working on some of the different things, you know, to make sure that the product that we produce and release is a great product. But when I was at ICAST last year with you, it was just a picture when I saw it. You actually got to use it. All right, show it.
Yeah, just show it. This is my hand.
So there's the
This
hand.
is the reel.
Wow.
That's the 8,000 size, 55 pounds of drag on this reel. So like I was saying, that aspect of grouper fishing, you know, when you really got to give the brakes to a fish, and you can't let them have an inch of line, a grouper. If they get line from you, they get back in that hole, they blow up, it's over, game over. You can try to set them out and wait them out, but you know, that's about 20% of the time you may get a return on that. The key to grouper fishing is being able to put those brakes on them and stop them right where they are. And this reel is it. This is the powerhouse right here. It's
So
gotta be
that's the Capstan Elite. So Milton Thompson. All right, hold it up one more time for Milton.
So we got a power handle.
Oh my gosh, look at that thing.
And then just an absolute tank of a reel. Now there's various sizes to this one. Again, this is the 8,000. This is the big boy. They do have a 3,000 size. That's great for, catching redfish and snook, live bait aspects, dead bait, cut bait. It's been a great reel for that. It has definitely stood up to the test we've given them so far. And it's a really smooth reel, and it's sturdy. There's no flex to the frame. It's got like I said, a lot of power. It's got a decent gear ratio that just gives it just enough torque, but at the same time allows you to have that speed to pick up that line, so you don't feel like you're reeling everywhere and not pulling in any line. It's set up pretty nice. They did a really good job on it. I think we hit a home run here. So
for the viewers at home watching, that's the Capstan Elite. It's been no secret since I cast that thing's coming. It's a whole lot in such an amazing package. And I don't want to talk about it too much because, of course, that's what the press release is for. That's what everything's for. And, of course, that's a sneak peek, but we all knew it was coming. We all see it was there. So that is the little bit of a tidbit that I can give you there and show you guys. And totally jealous that Brian's been using it. But you know what? No better person to use it because the guy goes out there and tortures it and catches some monsters. So, all right, Milton, hopefully that'll tide you over. So, guys, if you're looking for a beast of a reel for monster species, or just about anything out there, that's definitely one that can hang. So start saving your money. Let me find it. There was a question here I was going to bring up, but start saving your money because that is coming very soon. And golly, I mean, it's just, I don't even think the video can do justice for it, really. I mean, that's just, I got people saying I need that for catfishing. Where did that
I'll tell you, the surf fisher have been out there. I know that market through KastKing has been kind of narrow. I think this is the reel you guys have been waiting on. This is going to be the perfect surf fishing reel. Stripers off the beach, throwing out big chunks of crab and sitting in the surf on those big long rods. I think this is the reel you're waiting on.
Nice. All right. So Austin Weaver asked, what is your guys' favorite fishing lure? Now, this can be a lure or it could be a bait, like if you're going to be saltwater fishing. So because we have 3 anglers in here that for sure bass fish, but we got Mr. Brian over here catches good Lord only knows what, like up here off the coast. So, all right, so whoever wants to jump in there, what is your favorite fishing lure? And don't say the banjo minnow because that's mine. So
what was the one we were talking about today? The one-legged cricket?
The one-legged donkey rig.
One-legged donkey rig. That's it.
I would say it really depends on the time of year. Like this year, I'm going to go out this weekend down in North Carolina. And my favorite for the pre-spawn is going to be a jerkbait, a lipless crankbait, something moving that imitates shad. But I could tell you my go-to bait after the pre-spawn, when they're spawning and beyond, is going to be probably some sort of creature bait, flipping heavy, big stick, 50-pound braid in a bush in the grass, something like that. I'm a Cliff Crochet kind of big stick.
Power fisherman kind of guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Tiffany?
Mine's going to be so boring.
Banjo minnow. So
No, I actually, my favorite bait is probably, most people who follow me know the answer to this, but I love Senkos. I really do. I love Texas rigging, and it catches fish, and it catches fish in most conditions. And so that's my comfort bait. That's like that was one of the first things I learned how to fish when I started bass fishing. And I've stuck with it. I mean, I've learned a lot of other things, and like I love popping frogs. I think topwater is so much fun. But man, it's hard to beat that Senko.
So if you had, so you're a Senko person now, are you religious to, like, say, some people be like, oh, that Gary Yamamoto Senko, that's the only one right there, I can't touch it, or just you go after a Yum Dinger, or does brand matter to you?
Brand absolutely matters. Salt in a Senko absolutely matters to me. I'll tell you, usually if I see new ones that I've never tried, I will Like last weekend, I was at Ann's Tackle Shop, and Ann's makes their own Senkos. So I bought a pack of those to try out. So I like to test different ones. I actually do. I haven't done it recently because the bite's been so hard in the winter, but during the spring and the summer, I'll do stick bait reviews, and different bait makers send me their stick baits, and I give them my take on them. But yeah, I love stick baits. But yes, Gary Yamamoto is the original, and it's hard to beat that. There's just something about it, about the way it falls. It just has a different fall to it than most other Senkos that or sticks that I see. Because
we had another
the Yamamoto is the only Senko.
It is a thing. Well, I gotta disagree because I've been throwing Senkos, Texas rig. I do like almost like a jerk bait style rig where you put them on a leader with a swivel and top water fish them and stuff. And I use the Bass Pro Shop brand. I use the Dingers. There's quite a few that I love, but I got to say that Gary Yamamoto is a phenomenally great one, but I can't say that it's my only choice. Now, before I turn you
I will
loose
say
and
the
hand it
Bass
over to
Pro
Brian-
ones, I like those for like a shaky head.
Okay.
Because they have a little bit more durability to them. But when I'm
Yeah.
Texas rigging, I really like the softness and the saltiness of a Yamamoto Senko.
Now, there was another question that popped up before I turn it over to Brian on his favorite one, but it comes to you, favorite color of that Senko. Do you have a Senko color of choice that's like a go-to?
I do. My favorite color is red shad.
Red shad. I'll throw a white one on top water. Like when I'm doing like a jerk bait style top water so I can see it, see the reaction. I think they can see it more. And I like the white ones for top water. So
I mean, green pumpkin is like, you're kind of standard, but red shad, that
I'll
is.
tell you, that red shad is a secret one. Don't tell too many people that red shad. I'm telling you, I love red shad and everything. I'm looking at my wall right there, and I see my bag of Senkos. Like there's 20 packages right there on my wall of red shad.
how do you rate that red shad?
I originally kind of came in like fishing a lot of farm ponds. My family has a ranch, so I fished a lot of stock ranch ponds, which usually they're kind of muddy water, and so that red shad just like something about it. They go crazy for it.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian?
And I tell you, if they're not hitting that red shad, switch over to like a June bug. It's either one of the two of those in that muddy water. They'll bite it. So sorry, go ahead, AJ.
Sorry, I was gonna say, Brian, you got to flip it on us.
Oh yeah,
I know you ain't gonna be throwing a Senko out there.
I'm not gonna be throwing a Senko out there. I'm not gonna knock them, but that's not my style, AJ. I got two baits that I go to, and they're pretty much they're my hang all. My tackle box is pretty simple. The first one is a Yozuri 3DS, kind of the like about a 2.5, 3-inch suspending jerk bait. And the other one is a custom jig that my buddy Ryan Dean ties. And I like this jig because it's versatile. I can tip it with, some natural baits, a piece of shrimp or a cut piece of fish, or I can put a soft plastic on it and just bounce it across the flats. I can make it weedless. I can swim it. It's a very versatile bait for us here in the saltwater. But just pure fun and excitement, the Yozuri 3DS, or really just any sort of suspending jerk bait is probably my favorite style of fishing. It seems to be the most productive for me. I'm most comfortable throwing it and casting it, which I think that is the ticket. That's the key, having the confidence in the bait you're throwing. And let's just face it, it catches anything and everything out there. One of the great things about saltwater is you have no idea what's going to end up on the end of your line, especially
That's
down
what I
here.
was totally going to ask. I was like, now, are you targeting anything particular with those two rigs, or is it just a throw it out there and just go, dude, who knows? Like
That's it. We always go out as sport anglers and we target that slam. It's a 3 species mix. Just kind of depends on what region you're in. And it's going to be one of those 3 species normally. We have our areas where you would go to highlight a certain one of those species, but let's just face it, all 3 of them could be there at any given point in time. You never know. That's the excitement of saltwater. And like I said, down here in Southwest Florida, you get deep into the Everglades way back and you start mixing into some fresh water. And we're catching redfish, then we catch largemouth bass, then, a snook ties in, then a tarpon. And then the next thing you know, you've got this fish from Africa on the end of your line. You're like, where'd this thing come from? We've got a very wide range of exotics down here. So it's just a very unique fishery and really lucky to be here to fish it.
Nice. Now I got a question basically for you, Brian. It says, what is your favorite multi-purpose rod for inshore fishing?
Ooh, multi-purpose. I don't really like that term multi-purpose. As pro guide, I got rods for exact purposes. But if I gotta say, if I could
So if
only
you have
pick
to
up
narrow
one,
it down,
narrow it
for
down.
one guy making a purchase or one gal making a purchase,
Ooh,
what's your go-to?
I really like the Speed Demon Elite series. I think for me, that's what I feel the most. It's the most enjoyable fishing with for a multi-purpose rod. Yeah, definitely. The Estuary Inshore series definitely has its unique or specific spots that I do. And then my favorite rod right now to fish with is the wide eye rod. It's a walleye rod, but I've got that rigged with the Speed Demon Elite spinning reel and that 13X casting line. And I'll tell you, I put these little suspending jerk baits on them, and that right now, that's my adrenaline. That's my fun spot. If I'm going out there to have a good time, that's the combo I'm grabbing. That's the lure I'm grabbing.
Now, is there a misconception that because you're fishing in the salt that you're primarily going out there with the biggest rod and reel? I mean, you just held up an 8,000 series reel, and you're not cranking that
Right.
out on the walleye wide eye rod. So, I mean, for me, I'm in Arizona. There is no oceanfront property here, not yet. And so it's kind of surprising to me that you're going with such to what I would call light tackle. So but granted, you have the Kong rods and you have the 8,000 series. So is there a reason why you go that route more chances of catching, or?
No, again, like I said, that's why I don't like this exact phrase multi-purpose rod, because for my style of fishing, it really doesn't exist. If I'm going after 40-inch snook, I got that capstan 6'6" with that high grip or that Kong 6'6" rig with the capstan. And, that rod is short, and it gives me the ability to throw 2.5 pound baits and get some distance on them, and then be able to just absolutely winch the fish out of tight cover. I can't do that with a wide eye rod. I guarantee it.
Well, that's true. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you guys just tuning in or have maybe been watching for a little while, or you're watching this in the rebroadcast, KastKing loves to do giveaways. I'm going to plug some stuff real quick and then get back to the chat. So if you guys got a good question that you want to ask, or a topic you want to bring up and let us just go crazy on it, please get us jabbering and laughing. Who knows? Plus, hey, guys, who has a guess at what the one-legged donkey rig is? So that we may put that in the comments. But anyways, so KastKing's always doing giveaways. I wouldn't be giving away AJ if we didn't. But we've got some giveaways popping off. We've got some Valentine's giveaways getting ready to start later this week that will run throughout the weekend in honor of Valentine's Day. So be watching out for that. But this one right here in particular, guys, is a new giveaway system. Here's a little image there to kind of get you guys to something to look out for. Keep an eye out for that image or that logo right there in general. That is the KastKing Swag Wednesday logo. And also you notice there's a hashtag to it. So keep an eye out for hashtag Swag Wednesday. And then the KastKing logo right there with that little weird spiral image going on there. What it is on Wednesdays, obviously it's going to be a Swag Wednesday. Watch for those posts and follow directions. It's going to be simple. And the fundamentals to getting in to enter and win and getting hooked up is going to be, make sure you're following that platform that you see it on, whether it's like TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you see that on, make sure you're following and subscribe to that. Second, just give it a like and then tag 3 of your friends in the comments. That's it. You're entered to win. It's that easy, guys. So make sure you guys are keeping an eye out for Swag Wednesdays popping off real quick, guys. What's tomorrow? You never know. So, guys, again, make sure you're checking it out, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You know what it is. Keep an eye out for Swag Wednesday and the hashtag. Make sure you're following that given platform, whether it's on KastKing USA on Instagram or so on. Make sure you're following. Go ahead and give it a like and tag 3 people in the comment section, and you're entered to win on Swag Wednesday. So pretty cool stuff. All right, let's step back into there, see if anybody knows what the one-legged donkey rig is. Let's see. Don't talk about me like that, Jose Cinco. Apparently, Jose thinks he's the one-legged donkey rig. All right. Okay, here we go. Scott Hooten's got a question for Tim individually. Tim, pre-spawn. what are you going with? What lure do you have tied on?
Oh, so literally, I was just doing this today, tying some lures up. So pre-spawn, I'm going to tie on a jerk bait. And I'll tell you that Yozuri one that Brian showed is a great bait. I have those in my boat for bass specifically, but I'll have a jerk bait on, probably in like a neutral color, because right now the water temperatures are cold. Fish are going to be in that sort of white color pattern. Not a lot of stripes and color to them. So I'll have a jerk bait. I'll have a lipless crankbait, probably in a red color because I want to cover some water to find some fish. So I'll put a red one on, cover water. Then when I find some fish, I'll slow down and pull that jerk bait out. If the water temperature gets around 55 degrees, then I'll start getting into flat-sided crankbaits. In the springtime, you want to have your baits with a tight wobble and a tight wiggle. As the water warms, the wiggle gets wider. So keep that in mind. Springtime, tight wiggle, flat-sided crankbaits, lipless crankbaits. If you've got some stain to the water, to clear water, don't be afraid to throw that jerk bait out there. Those will be the three that I'll have on. I'll also probably have if I'm in an area where there's a lot of grass, I'll have a swim jig, probably white, just something I can zing out there and crank through slowly through that grass or slowly through that timber. Swim jigs are great pre-spawn, cover water baits. It's a great one. So definitely swim jig, jerk bait, rattle trap, and a flat-sided crankbait. Those will be the four that'll be sitting on my deck.
Tiffany's got a Gary Yamamoto Senko tied on. We already know that. Anything else you would throw, Tiff?
Yeah. So pretty much what Tim said, that would be part of my lineup. But then I also really like for pre-spawn, really small little swim baits, like soft plastic swim baits. Really slow fish, really slow. But I've had really good luck with that. Also red chatterbaits, I think is always a good option, especially, under docks and things like that. But yeah, I mean, your rattle trap, most of the lakes I fish, a rattle trap's going to be key. Like Tim was saying, in a red craw. Also, I like to fish the chrome one with either the black or the blue. And then I like those frit side, flat-sided cranks as well. So.
Yep. That's right. That little swim bait is key as well. Matter of fact, glad you reminded me, because I'm going to pull one off my wall right now so I tie it on.
Dude, I got to get this thing tied on before I forget.
Yeah. I'm glad you reminded me. I got it right here.
So Brian,
either on like a little jig head or on a little underbelly weight or underspin. I've had really good luck with just kind of slowly fishing those, especially if you have a brush pile or something like that. It's pretty awesome. You catch a lot of good fish and a lot of big fish. A lot of times they'll bite on that smaller bait.
Yeah, that's a great point. When if I'm not getting bit on like a swim jig, then I'll go right to that small swim bait, because it's a little subtler presentation. You can still work it through brush piles, grass, rocks. It's a great springtime slow bait that when they're on.
Most of the time I'm fishing off the back of the boat, as a co-angler. So I usually, another like kind of cold weather, pre-spawn lure that I always have tied on is going to be a shaky head. So.
Now, Brianna Johnson mentioned, she goes, I've never had luck with red in Arizona, but actually I can say that starting about now, moving into mid-April, that's actually like that fire red or that tiger color lipless has done almost that fire red or orange lipless. Brianna here in Arizona is on a lipless I've done wonders with. So give it a try. Plus,
yeah, the rule of thumb we always had was if their lips are red, throw the red. Like if you're bringing that bass out and they've got that red lipstick on, start throwing red.
I mean, these guys just came in this month, and I'm telling you what, that looks like it's going to be a fire setup right there. And I'm like, I might be starting to throw that here pretty quick. So
yeah, I got that same deal.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, KastKing makes a color chili red, has lots of reds and oranges. I've got probably 20 red lipless crankbaits in my box. The one that I throw the most is a color called chili red. So if you're hesitant about throwing red, just go grab chili red. I think it's a Strike King lipless. And it's probably the one I caught the most fish on, is that color. I can probably grab it real quick. It's right there in the box.
Now here in Arizona, chili red is dangerous because it means you just ate a red chili, and that sucker's you're gonna regret that tomorrow. So, all right, he's pulling out chili red. Brian, I'm gonna get to you here in a second. You're hanging in there, patient as can be. Appreciate it.
It'd be that one. Sorry, it's kind of tangled up, but it'd be that one.
Yes, Brianna. Basically, everything he's got in his hand right now is great stuff here pretty quick here in AZ. So
Now you throw that just the way it is?
Just the way it is.
he
Okay.
just ties
That's
it
the one-legged
like
donkey rig, right?
That's the one-legged
That's
donkey.
it?
That's the one-legged
That's it.
donkey rig right there. The secret's out, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Brian, what do you got? What are your thoughts on the Kong rods? Because we know that you've had them for a while. So
My thoughts on the Kong rod. It is the perfect build for this medium to big game fishing, the style that I do. The one reason that I like it is that S-curve blink. It's lightweight, yet it's powerful. You know, when you first pick up the rod, you're like, it feels a little light to be a big game rod. Let me tell you something. It has some serious backbone to it, and you know it's got enough flex in it where it's kind of forgiving with my clients. So like Tarpon, they do those monstrous, massive head shakes, and that rod's got just enough flex in it that if they don't bow all the way, it's a little forgiving. You know, it gives them a little advantage where instead of just being that stiff broomstick tip, it gives just enough flex to be forgiving.
Nice.
My 6'6", you know, that's the rod that I choose that I fish with, and it's just because it allows me to throw those heavy. You know, we're fishing 14-inch ladyfish for snook. We're pitching them underneath mangroves, so I've got to be accurate and I've got to have some decent distance with the cast. So it does allow me to cast that bait, but then whenever I do get the snook on the line, it's got that power to just horse them out, get them out from under that tight cover, and get them out in the open flat where we can fight them and get them to the boat quickly. And again, I'm with the conservation mindset, getting them to the boat fast, releasing them healthy. That's the ticket. That's the key. This rod is the best at what it does.
nice. Well, thank you. Now, Tiffany, we know that you throw a Senko, but do you ever drop shot a Senko, or do you drop shot at all?
I do drop shot. And I'll tell you, I didn't drop shot for a long time. You know, I would see other people doing it, and it just was never a style of fishing that I did. And my last tournament of last season on Rayburn, my boater took me to pretty deep water, and I was throwing stuff and I wasn't catching anything. And I made myself a drop shot. I literally I used a bullet weight and tied it to the end of my line, you know, tied a hook on. I had wacky rig hooks, and I caught all my fish that day on that drop shot. And so after that, I was like, I need to add this to my repertoire. And so yes. I actually, just this last fall, ordered myself a rod and reel to do drop shotting. And yes, I drop shot now. Sometimes I'll use a Senko. I actually use a lot more robo worms on that. I also like to use small flukes and little Kitex swim baits. That's typically what I'll put on my drop shot.
Now, do you choose to? This will be for Brian. I don't know if you've ever drop shotted before, but for everybody in the box here, question on your drop shot: do you Texas rig more of your drop shot, or do you nose hook more in your drop shot, and why?
So I typically nose hook on my drop shot. I have actually never tried it with a Texas rig, which is kind of weird because Texas rigging is like my favorite style of fishing. But,
and I'll tell you the way I do it and why. So, but Tim?
I do. So I do two types of drop shots. So if I'm going to do finesse drop shotting, it'll be nose hooked. I also throw a drop shot on a 7'4" medium heavy flipping stick with about a 3-ounce weight, and I will Texas rig.
Power shot, basically.
Yeah, power shot. I will Texas rig a worm on that. And I'll use like a number 2 or even a number 3 worm hook and rig it just like a drop shot. My leader will be real short, about maybe 8 inches at most. But if I'm fishing that way, it'll be Texas rig, just because typically I'm fishing a lot of structure in grass, brush, and that Texas rig just comes through it nice. But if it's finesse with a spinning rod, then it'll be nose hooked.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've only ever done it finesse style.
Yeah. Most
So
people
I'm
do
going to be doing a video soon, especially, it's funny that we talk about power shotting, because power shotting is basically what killed it in MLF in the last couple of days. And it's a great opportunity. And I don't do it as much as I should. I did crack the drop shot world a couple of years ago, really thanks to, a pro angler here in Arizona, Matt Shura, but like he's such an awesome dude, but a lot of people don't like it. They almost look at it as like, oh, it's a sissy way of fishing, or drop shot. You either love it or you hate it. And what's funny is once you actually really, I think, dial it in and understand it, you love it even more, because it flat produces. But I tend to do a Texas rig more, and I use the longer robo style hooks. You know what I'm talking about? You know how you get almost like a circular hook for the normal typical drop shot hook? The longer, they call it like the robo worm hook. It gives you a bigger area as opposed to a rope. Sorry, my dog is uppity tonight, so I apologize. But it gives you a bigger bite area rather than that real small spot. Plus, like I live in Arizona and we have a lot of submerged structure. Our lakes are constantly fluctuating in level. So we'll have a lake that will dang near run dry, get really low for years. And then all of a sudden we'll get a crazy bunch of rain. We'll go on droughts, goes down, things grow, and all kinds of trees and different debris come in. And then all of a sudden lake floods. So you're fishing, in areas that may have been submerged for the past 10 years, but 10 years ago, there was a ton of foliage down there. So you get hung up like crazy. So we tend to Texas rig a lot with that larger hook here in Arizona. And that keeps us, being more, weedless, so to speak. And of course, in structure. And that's where power shotting comes in even better, is because a lot of the structure. So if you're going to be in bigger structure, throw heavier stuff, throw bigger worms, catch bigger fish, like a 3/0 EWG hook or something. But then you get into that whole argument of, 6-pound line, 8-pound line, braid to fluoro leader, or 15-pound fluoro, to this. And you get some guys are like, nope, you got to have thin 6-pound. So you get that presentation in the water column. I mean, and I've caught him in several different ways. Oh, we lost Brian. Brian quit on us.
And I think sometimes it depends on the water, you're fishing and the pound of line, because like in Texas, a lot of our lakes that I'm fishing, the water's not as clear. It's at least stained. So you can get away with a little bit heavier of a line than you could, in a super crystal clear lake.
I was going to say the same thing here. I fish a lot of tidal water. So tidal water, if you have 12 inches of visibility, you're lucky, maybe 2 feet at best. And like you, AJ, the water fluctuates so much that there's so much garbage in the water that, I fish with, my power shot is going to be 30-pound braid to a 15-pound fluoro with a 3/0 worm hook, and, up to a 10-inch worm. So,
okay. Now for people out there too, who are possibly just getting into drop shot, how do you set your leader right off the bat, you guys, real quick? Where do you decide, you know what? I'm going to do an 8-inch leader, well, I shouldn't say leader, but your drop from the hook to the sinker. How do you decide to go 8 inches, 10 inches?
Believe it or not, it has lots to do with the time of year. So in the springtime, fish are going to be feeding up in the water column. They're going to be going after shad, minnows. In the summertime, fish are going to be feeding more at the bottom. So summertime, I go with a shorter leader. Springtime, I may go with a 2-foot leader. I'll probably have a drop shot rigged up this weekend, but with a 2-foot leader on it, just because I know fish are feeding up higher in the water column. Summertime, it'll be 8-inch because I know fish are feeding more toward the bottom. It's kind of the way it is up here. I don't know how it is out there in Texas, Tiffany, but I don't know what do you guys do?
I really don't know. I've kind of fished it by a trial and error method. I don't know that I have the science behind it, but I've just kind of, and I've always set mine a little bit longer and then gone shorter as I fish if I'm not catching fish on it.
That's a good thing to do.
Sinker's going shorter now. So
yeah, I just keep moving the weight up and cutting the line off.
Yeah, even I do the same thing, but I don't even cut the line off. I just leave that big tail dangling down there so I can move that weight up and down. Because sometimes, like, if I'm in like grass that's a foot tall, I don't want that bait buried in the grass. I want to extend that leader up a little bit, so it's just on top of the grass. So a lot of the leader length. Go ahead.
I do a lot of pond fishing, and so I still throw a drop shot while I'm pond fishing, and with that, sometimes I have no idea how deep those ponds are, but I'll even fish it in kind of shallower water, and I've had success with that even.
And that's where paying attention to your graph is really going to come into play too, is being able to identify grass and different weeds on the bottom and how high the fish, they're kind of just chilling at this level. The grass is here. Do I want to present just slightly above the grass? What do I want to do there? Or, like, are the fish laying, like we see in Arizona sometimes, depending on the different temperatures and water situations, are they laying belly deep? Like just laying with their guts submerged in some mud? Do we need to, if we're, real high leader, they just may not even care. Now, granted, they're looking up, but drop it down even lower, stick it in their face. And that's half the thing with a drop shot, is you almost irritate the snot out of them. Like you put it
right. And you just hold it there and wiggle it. Right. They got to bite it.
Like, get out of here. And that's the,
believe it or not, drop shotting, that is a technique that I use in saltwater.
Really?
Fishing our reefs near shore, snapper, sheep's head. We'll put a lead in the gulp smelt with a little number 2 to a 2/0 hook. And we just, like you guys said, just annoy the crap out of them with it. And then offshore with the grouper, I actually replaced the weight with a larger bucktail jig. And then we'll put a nice, super fluke or something on the drop shot portion of it. And we'll work that jig on the bottom. So you got the hard bait that's bouncing and thudding on the bottom. And then 2-3 foot above that, you've got this little, flimsy soft plastic that's just dancing around. And, it drives those fish crazy. Really good for the fluke too, the flounder.
And that's one thing to also, for people watching too, some advice from me is when you're doing drop shot, now you can, like, it goes along with this number here where you're putting it right in their face and driving them crazy. Almost like spawning bass. You put it in their bed. They just want it to go away. Get it out of here. Well, some of them may just sit there and stare at it and not care. Like, you can literally hit them in the head with it. Now I'll fish drop shot in 2 foot of water, and I'll fish it in 60 foot of water. If I'm fishing in 2 foot of water and it's clear, watch, when it goes in, watch what the fish do. And there's quite a few times where I've watched bass go after the sinker and could care less about the lure. Yeah. And to me, tells me my profile's too big, my color's off, things like that. Or if they're just sitting there staring at this guy and they just won't do anything with it, and you're pretty much donking them in the head with it, change color, change length, switch it up. Don't just go, well, I guess they don't want to bite today. Give them the kitchen sink. Try it. If they're finicky and they don't want to hit it, but they're kind of looking at it, if they're interested, they may look at it and kind of follow it, but never go to it. Go back, especially if you have live scope or something to that nature, and you see them kind of move around and watch it. If you're dragging it, then all of a sudden go, well, they're looking at it, but they're just not taking it. Switch it up to something, and it could make all the difference. So.
Do you ever put a creature bait on yours?
I don't, but I've thought about
it. Like a baby brush hog or anything?
See, now brush hog, that's money right there. You're telling secrets.
Yeah.
Anyways, but no, with the power shotting, definitely. That is, like, I'm going to be doing a video on power shotting, and I've only done power shotting a little bit with worms, but I really wanted to kind of play more with creature baits and stuff. It's just right now when I'm going to shoot this video, hopefully this weekend I'm going to work on it. But the lakes are so tight-lipped. So I don't want to get discouraged, and be like, oh, they ain't biting. That stupid should have just thrown a robo worm or a 5150. But yeah, so or that Gary Yamamoto Senko. with a lot of salt.
I throw
I know it's top
No,
secret. Don't
yeah.
talk about the Senko.
You know, I should have thrown that donkey rig, one-legged donkey.
Yeah, it's the one-legged donkey rig. That gets me every time.
I actually just learned what a donkey rig was like
There
a
is
couple
one?
weeks ago.
There
I've
is a
never heard of
donkey
it.
rig, but a one-legged donkey rig.
Oh, but the one-legged donkey rig. Oh, yeah.
Yes. All righty.
Donkey rig.
So this gentleman, Andrew, is in the market for a new all-purpose casting setup, heavy to medium. What would you guys recommend for bass? I know exactly what I'm thinking right out of the gate, and I'll see what you guys have.
Look, Tim went and grabbed his.
I'm wondering
Yeah,
if you
I
have
think
it.
you
Before he says anything, mine starts with a C. It is a Speed Demon Pro, and it starts with a C.
Starts with a C. Carolina rig?
For a
Mine's a
multi-purpose rod that you can do so much with, that Carolina rig rod is awesome. But
It
I do
is.
have a jig worm that I love too, and I do. But
Yeah,
I'd say
this
I
is
reach for that
really-
Carolina rig more than the jig worm.
This 7.3 jig and worm rod. Now it says jig and worm, but you can do a lot with this.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a medium power, so you could even throw crankbaits with this, lipless crankbaits. So it's a good all-purpose rod that you can go from, as it says, a jig or a worm, right out to a crankbait. So if you don't want to buy, 30 rods, one for every bait you have, I find this 7.3 jig and worm rod is, out of all the ones I have, probably the most universal one. And then there's also, KastKing also has the 7.3 bladed jig rod. The biggest difference is the bladed jig rod has a little more of a moderate flex to it. So this one's more adapt to any moving bait. So if you had to buy one or two, I would recommend you get this bladed jig rod. Again, this will cover bladed jigs to crankbaits to anything moving. And then the 7.3 jig and worm rod. This could cover everything from jigs right through to power shot that we were talking about to all of your worm needs. But if I had to get one or two, it'd be one of these two. As you can tell, I've got a few because I think they're just great.
One or two.
Yeah, they're just great all around, all-purpose rods. So
The
That
Carolina
Speed
rig rod.
Pro series, I'm telling you, it's a great lineup, and I agree 100% there.
it's phenomenal.
Yep.
For me, that Carolina rig rod is very similar to what you said. It's got a nice parabolic bend to it, but not excessive, not too light. You can do some Texas rigging with it. You can do some flipping. It doesn't have extreme power for winching stuff out of there, but it's got a good multi-purpose power. You can throw a spinnerbait on it. You can throw a bladed jig. You can throw some crank stuff with it. It's multi-purposable with a little more backbone, and I like that. So
that's a really good swim jig rod. If you're throwing heavy half-ounce swim jigs and grass, because it's got the backbone that really wrench fish out of that grass once they bite.
yeah,
So
it's
this
pretty
Carolina
good.
rod is a nice rod.
Tiff, what do you think?
So I'm gonna go a little different just in case Andrew's price range is lower. I'm gonna give him another option.
Good point.
I think
Great
you should
point.
definitely, if you can't afford the Speed Demon series, which I agree with him, that is top of the line, wonderful rods. But also look at the Royal Select rods. They're really great. Those, I know I really enjoy mine. I have some of those on my tournament lineup, so check those out too.
Yeah, 24-ton Touray carbon. They are Fuji guides, aluminum reel seat, EVA grip. I mean, it is. We used to
These
call
are-
them the
they are
Royal
great.
Legend. Yep, it used to be the Royal Legend, and we've of course done some different things in some of the way moving forward. So it was renamed the Royal Select. And I tell you what, that is. It's kind of like, it's almost like how we call the Sharky 3 the People's Champ. That Royal Select, and it now there's, for those of you watching and maybe taking notes of this, of something to buy. Like Tiffany said, if you have a different budget or price point you're going after, she said Royal Select. Now, she could have also multi-purposed it in two ways. And it's the same rod with slightly different things to it. The Royal Select and the Para G2 were built off of almost identical designs and materials.
I will tell you,
using
the Paragu 2, I love those rods.
Right.
Almost every spinning rod I have, that's what I'm using.
it's pretty much almost the exact same rods, except for some of your trim. You have a graphite reel seat on the Para G2, a little bit more scaled down price wise. to get into that budget more affordable. Plus, you can get it in the twin tip selection if you're looking for that. If you want a 2-piece, and then you can change the tips and get 2 different actions. So that is a winner chicken dinner on that one. But again, you can't go wrong budget wise if you're looking for a budget rod. And they've been around forever. The Pair G2 is probably one of our greatest selling rods of all time. Royal Select of the same family. Great thing to mention, Tiff.
And let's just put it out there. That Pair G2, that thing is feather light. I picked
Yep.
the rod up. I couldn't believe how light that rod was.
And affordable, flat affordable.
Yeah, affordable, like, yeah.
And it's got a huge range, of the rods you can choose from it as well. Tons of selection.
Multi-purpose,
actually, I've got a
having that
video.
twin tip design. If you're looking for multi-purpose, that's that gives you the option of one rod right there to switch between the 2 main factors in that parabolic bend. So, yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we've been going for an hour. This is normally a 30-minute show, but we got quite a few viewers in here still watching and people enjoying it. So, but we got one right here for Captain Brian. Ever use a snafu rig?
A snafu rig? I'm not sure I've ever heard of that one, to be honest with you. I may have used it under a different name.
Yeah,
But
that's
no,
so,
I can't say I'm familiar with it at all.
I don't know. I'm going to take a look and see if I can't Google what a snafu rig is.
So
While
I'm
you're
right
looking it up, I want to throw in something real quick before we do run out of time. Scott and I have been working on the sunglasses with KastKing, and I just want to throw in there, we've got some new sunglasses that are going to be hitting the market here soon. You guys, they're incredible. They're coming out they have a new coating on them that's much more scratch resistant. And Scott has a new lens coming out that the optical clarity of this lens, when you put these on, it's like the whole world was a lie the whole time. And
Really?
you put sunglasses in the past, and then you throw these things on, and you're like, wow, I can't believe how clear they are. And that's the Anoku, I think Anoku is the new glass frame that's coming out, or the glasses that's coming out. I think he said it's a poly, I don't want to butcher, poly something lens, different material.
Now, see, and that's a lot of people are going to look at your eyewear and not think that that's a big deal. It's an incredibly big deal as far as UVA, UVB rays, polarity, blocking light out, being able to almost use that X-ray vision to see and locate fish a lot better, to watch the action of your lure is doing, and just to flat keep hooks and things out of your peepers, man. I'm telling you, that's where it's at. But not just as eye protection from just the sun or from the lures, but to have that X-ray vision. So you're telling me this is like double X-ray vision?
Yeah, for me, sunglasses are probably one of the most important things in my tackle box. As a guide, my whole job is not throwing a lure at the fish. It's spotting the fish for my client. We're sight fishing. We're on the flats. We're looking ahead, and being able to decipher the difference between a shadow, a piece of seaweed, and a fish sitting on the bottom is huge. And then being able to identify that fish as a mullet or a big snook sitting on the bottom, that's everything. And yes, HD vision for sure. Getting that elevation and then looking into the water, it cuts the glare. And like I said, that optical clarity just really highlights those edges that have, seemed blurred, that I didn't even realize were blurred. You'll know what I'm saying the moment you put them on.
The moment we try them on. All right, let's
Are those coming out this spring, Brian?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
All right, so
Like you, I carry 3 different pairs of sunglasses on my boat, and it's like a essential tool. It's a good pair of glasses.
Anoku again is that name.
Anoku. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to upload a photo that I've downloaded of it won't let me do it right now while we're live. But let me see if I can get it of the snafu rig. The snafu rig. Let's see. Why is it not letting me see?
I could show on my phone real quick on the camera if you want to see it. This is
You
what
got it?
I Googled it. I don't know if you can see that. Probably
See, I
can't
have a different image. It's like, are you seeing like 2 hooks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely have never used anything like that. That's too many hooks, too complex for what we do. I'm not saying it's a bad rig, just not, it wouldn't fit our style down here. You'd be hung up in a heartbeat or tangled in the line next to you.
All right, let's see if it'll let me bring it up. Maybe it will. If not, I'm going to abandon it and move on. So let's see. Where did it go? Yep. Trying to do it live is not being friendly with me. So we're going to abandon that and move on.
I know. We do a lot of knocker rigs, a lot of fish finder rigs, and a lot of chicken rigs.
What? Okay. What the heck is a chicken rig?
Chicken
and a knocker rig?
Pretty basic. It's a lead weight on the bottom with two hooks suspended above it, and they're kind of tied in a loop. The hooks are, so they kind of leader off the main line.
So it's kind of sounds like a modified drop shot, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like a modified drop shot. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The hooks are above the lead, and it gives you the ability. It's usually a big bank sinker. So when you're running from spot to spot, it gives you the ability to quickly remove that weight, so it's not flipping all over the place in the boat. You know, it's a good guide rig. You know, quick to tie, pretty reliable.
Nice, cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit an hour, and I know you guys all have families, and you guys all have other things that are important. We love the fact that the people watching have been hanging in there with us and asking lots of questions. So before I turn you guys loose, we'll go with Tim. Tim, you've got quite a season getting ready to kick off for you. You got that brand new fresh boat wrap going. This is your first year fishing under the KastKing label. Let us know what we can expect from you. How can people follow you, and how can people find you in order to see your adventures?
So you can go to timkfishing.com, my webpage, or Tim K Fishing and Outdoors on Instagram, Tim K Fishing and Outdoors on Facebook and YouTube. But check out the website, timkfishing.com, and you can find all links to other social media, my videos, and all kinds of other goodies, discounts, so on and so forth.
Nice. Well, Tim, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We ran an hour. I apologize for taking too much of your time, but thank you very much. Any advice or anything that you want to throw out before I turn you loose?
Advice for me?
Is there any advice to throw out to the viewers, or anything you wanted to throw out before I turn you loose?
Who are you talking to, AJ?
To you, Tim. Sorry.
Oh, to me? Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
thought you said Tiffany. Okay. Oh, any advice? Springtime, stay warm. Slow your retrieve down, and remember, fish are feeding high in the water column. So fish a little higher in the water column. Moving baits. Nice.
All righty, Tim. Well, thank you very much. Have a good night, and thanks for joining us. All righty. So, Tiffany, before I turn you loose, again, just hit 10,000 followers on Instagram. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, how can people find you on Instagram to help that number go up from 10,000 to 100,000?
You can find me pretty much anywhere on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, at Texas Bass Babe. So
nice. Now, what do you got going on? What do you got going on is your season just getting started? You got a whole lineup, a whole roster. How can people enjoy your adventures? What do you got happening?
So I will be fishing the Phoenix Bass Fishing League in the Cowboy division. So I've already signed up for all of those. And then I will also be doing the Central Opens, which the first one I believe is coming up in May. So
now, what you said, the Cowboy division?
The Cowboy division. So that's basically Texas, the Texas area. So MLF, they break the BFL down by different divisions, and they've got cute little nicknames for them. And mine is the Cowboy division.
Nice. Well, awesome. Tiffany, thank you very much. And before I turn you loose, you got any tips, tricks, or anything out there or advice you want to give anybody out there coming into the fishing world?
I would just say if you're new to fishing, social media is a great way to learn a lot of tips and tricks. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to throw lures that you've never thrown before. I actually found out about KastKing because I bought my first bait caster a few years ago, and people on social media pointed me to KastKing. And so I ordered my first reel. I taught myself how to use it with the help of people on Instagram. And don't be afraid to do things you've never done before. And the social media community, I would say, for new fishermen, for new anglers especially, it is amazing. And people are willing to help you. Same thing with my tournament fishing. I'm very new to tournament fishing, and I've had a ton of support from the people on social media. And I've had a ton of encouragement and a ton of great advice that I've received from people. And so don't be afraid to put yourself out there, try new things, and you can go far. So.
Nice. Well, thank you, Tiffany. Texas Bass Babe, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining us, and good luck on your next tournament. Hopefully that boater doesn't jack up his trolling motor next time, and you can actually put some in the boat.
I hope so, too.
All righty. Have a great night.
You too.
And then there was 2. What's going on, Captain Brian? How can the world book a trip to go have the best day of their life as you like to provide for your customers?
So you guys can find me on Instagram. It's _salt.weapon. That's where all my fancy pictures and everything going to go up to. We're trying out some new things with TikTok. Just got a drone. We're going to play around with it. So be on the lookout for that. And that's Real Salty Endeavors on TikTok. And then you can find my webpage, realsaltyendeavors.com. Book a trip down here to Southwest Florida, and we'll get you out there, get you on that trophy fish, that fish of a lifetime. But more importantly, I'll give you an experience you'll never forget. Get you out here and let you really see what the mangrove lifestyle is all about.
And if you guys are impatient and you can't wait for the KastKing Elite spinning, book a trip with this salty guy right here, and maybe he'll even let you use it. So yeah. So right on, Brian. Thank you very much for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and turn you loose and let you have a night. And again, thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Remember, fishing is a lifestyle, not a hobby. So
nice.
Leave things better than the way you found them, guys.
Exactly.
Thanks for having me.
Probably the best advice to give right there. Thanks, Brian. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, before I turn everybody loose here in our comment section, I just wanted to remind you, we got a bunch of giveaways going on, as always. And in the world of KastKing, keep an eye out. Over the weekend, we're going to be having a giveaway in honor of Valentine's Day. So that perfect angler in your family, your Valentine, may be interested in some fishing gear. So what better way than to win it? Get it for free. So pay attention to KastKing on all their social media platforms, from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and be looking for that Valentine's Day promotion and giveaway from KastKing. Plus this guy right here, guys. Swag Wednesday is kicking off. You guys keep an eye out for that. Hashtag Swag Wednesday. Easiest way to win some gear from KastKing is from following us. Make sure you follow us on, like I said, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, as you know. But guys, if you're not subscribed, if you're not an actual follower, that instantly just negates you from being eligible to win. So make sure you smash that follow button or subscribe button and click like, as well as tag 3 people in that comment feed once you see that logo right there, and follow the instructions, and you're entered to win. It's easy peasy, guys. It's easy peasy. So keep an eye out for Swag Wednesday. Guys, my name is AJ Gore. Thank you very much. Follow me on all my platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and sometimes I play around on YouTube, but you can find me definitely at YouTube through the KastKing channel. So again, my name is AJ Gore, also known as Giveaway AJ, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday night.